Okay, B.5, additive property of length. If QR equals 13 and RS equals 7, what is QS? We got to be really careful on these problems. We have to make sure we know what we know and make sure that we understand what we're looking for. So it says QR is 13. From Q to R is 13. Well, they were nice enough to draw us a picture. And RS is 7. So from R to S is 7. It's wanting the length of QS. So from Q to S, so it's wanting the whole thing. If it's wanting the whole thing, then it wants the 13 and the 7 put together. So how would we do that? We would add them, and your answer would be 20. If M to N is 10, and LN is 17, LN. So LN is the whole thing. If you already have the whole thing, you're not going to be able to get a bigger number. You shouldn't be able to get a bigger number whenever you're just looking for this right here from L to M. So you wouldn't add 17 and 10 to get 27, because that wouldn't make sense if 17 is the whole thing already. So if you already have the whole thing, you would subtract what you have, and that would give you what's missing. Whenever you don't have a picture, it might be better to draw a picture and then label whatever you are given. It says G is a point on segment FH. What that is saying is F is an endpoint and H is an endpoint and G is somewhere in between here. I don't know where it's at. I mean, you can put it right smack dab in the middle. That doesn't mean that it's exactly in the middle. We just kind of put it there. GH is 6.8. So from G to H is 6.8. And FH is the whole thing again, is 18. What is FG? So we have the whole thing, we have part of it, so we're going to subtract them. 18 minus 6.8. If you don't have a calculator, you would need to have a 0 up here. You'd make that 10. You would borrow and make that 11 and bring your decimal down. 11.2. Okay. Okay, here's a picture, but nothing's filled out. So we have to make sure that we fill everything out what's given. So CD is 16.5. DE is 17.6. If they give you this part and they give you this part, then they're probably going to want to know the whole thing. If they're wanting to know the whole thing, then we're going to add. So 16.5 plus 17.6. Again, if you don't have a calculator, 5 plus 6 is 11, so you would carry your 1. 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 1 is 14, carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 3, 34.1. Okay, now we're going to get into a little bit of algebra. So LM is 5x, MN is 4, and LN is 9x. What is LN? What is LN? I want to make sure I answer the question, because sometimes I just get what information I need and forget to finish it off. So let's see what's happening. Well, 5x is part of the length, and 4 is part of the length. So I'm going to add them together. Now, we can't add them. We can't actually put 5 and 4 together because they're not like terms. The 5 has an x and the 4 doesn't. So we can't say that's not x. But the whole thing does equal 9x because of this right here. So now I'm going to forget about the picture, and I am just looking at this equation. From Algebra 1, you know that whenever you have an equation like this, you want to get x by itself. You want to solve for x. To be able to solve for x, the first thing is to get your x's on one side. This has an x and this has an x. So I'm going to bring in the smaller one to the bigger one. 5 minus 5 is 0, so that goes away. The 4 comes down. 9 minus 5 is 4, but the x comes down too because they are like terms. Now to be able to get x by itself, right now we're multiplying whatever it does multiplication, which is division. We're going to divide both sides by 4. That 4 and that 4 cancel out because what's left is x, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. A lot of people, including myself, would probably stop right here because you're like, oh, I got x by itself. It's finished. Well, it's not finished because we didn't answer the question. That's why I put this here, making sure that we answer the question. It wants to know what ln is. Well, ln is 9x. So I needed to find what x was and plug that number in. So 9 times 1, because x is 1, 9 times 1 is 9. So our answer would be 9. Okay, to have it pictured, and I want KL. Whenever I get KL, then I'm going to be finished. So KL right now is 4x. The other part is 1, so we put plus 1. And if it equaled the whole thing, it would be 5x. Get x by itself, so we're going to move this x over to this x. 4 minus 4 is 0. The 1 comes down. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1x is the same thing as x, and x equals 1. X equals 1 is not the answer because I didn't want x. I needed KL. But for KL, I needed to know what x was to be able to answer the question. So I'm going to put 1 back in for x. And 4 times 1 is 4. So our answer is 4. All right. 9 plus 9x. I'm going to actually write this a little bit smaller. I can't give myself a lot of room. 9 plus 9x equals 16x plus 2. Since 16 has an x and 9 has an x, I need to move 1 to the other side. 9 is smaller than 16. It's always easier with the x's to move the one that is smaller. So because it's positive 9 here, we're going to subtract 9 and make that go away. And we're going to subtract 9. This 9 comes down. 16 minus 9 is 7. And this 2 comes down. Now we're going to subtract again by putting the 9 and 2 together. 9 minus 2 is 7. And 7x comes down. Divide by 7. Divide by 7. Those cancel out. X equals 1. It's not asking for x, it's asking for RS. RS is 9x. 9x, 9 times 1 is 9. Now, x isn't always 1. I promise you that, so don't get into the habit of it. Maybe it'll look a little bit better this time. So, smaller part, x minus 3, plus the other part is 7, equals the whole part, which is 2x minus 8. The 3 and the 7 do not have an x with them, and they're on the same side of the equal sign. We have to put them together first. So the x comes down. 7 minus 3 is 4. These aren't like terms, so I'm just going to bring them down. I'm going to subtract the 1x. I'm going to bring the 4 down. I'm going to bring the equal sign down. 2 minus 1 is 1. I'm going to bring the negative 8 down. I'm going to rewrite this because I'm not finished. So I just rewrote it right here. The 4 doesn't have an x, the 8 doesn't have an x, but they're not on the same side. So I'm going to move the 8 over to get it away from the x. 1x is the same thing as x, so our x is 12. If it's asking for x, then the answer would be 12 and we'd be finished. But it's not. It wants SU. SU is 2x minus 8. Well, what's x? X is 12. So I'm going to put 12 in here. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 minus 8 is 16. Okay. X plus 17 equals 6x plus 12. Oh, that is so totally wrong. 6x plus 17 plus 6x plus 12 equals 13x plus 5. if this is the equal sign, this x and this x need to go together. This 17 and this 12 need to go together. We're not moving them. We're not moving them to the other side because they're already on the same side. So you're not subtracting them. You're not dividing. We're doing all that. You're just putting a 1 plus 6 together and getting 7. The 17 plus 12 together and getting 29. This has an x. That has an x. So we're going to move the 7. That goes away because 7 minus 7 is 0. 29 comes down. The equal sign comes down. 13 minus 7 is 6. And the 5 comes down. I'm going to rewrite this again because I didn't give myself enough room. Sorry about that. The 29 doesn't have an x and the 5 doesn't have an x, but they are on the wrong side of the equal sign. So we're going to move the 5. 29 minus 5 is 24. The 5 go away. We're going to divide by 6. X equals 4. What is RS? RS is x plus 17. So 4 plus 17 is 21. Last one. JK is 4, so right there is 4. KL, which is here, is 2x plus 2. And the whole thing is 4x minus 3. So 4 plus 2x plus 2 equals 4x minus 3. This 4 and this 2 don't have x's, so I'm going to put them together. So I'm going to bring the 2x down first. 4 plus 2 is 6. These aren't like terms, so I'm going to bring them down. Subtract the 2x, subtract the 2x, those go away. Bring the 6 down, 4 minus 2 is 2. Bring the negative 3 down. I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to add the 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. All right, now watch. We're going to divide by 2. 9 over 2 does not reduce. So 9 over 2 would be what your x is. JL is 4x minus 3. So I'm going to put a 9 over 2 in here. If you have a calculator, throw it in the calculator, see what happens. But if you don't have a calculator, this is what's going on. So if over 2 means divided by 2, so you can either divide the 9 by 2 or you can divide this 4 by 2 because you're multiplying here. That's what I would do. If I had 4 over 2, those would cancel out and I would be left with 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Bring the 3 down. 18 minus 3 is 15. I know that was a lot. I know I went fast. Hopefully you used the pause button enough to be able to get everything down. I'll help you with it after you get all the notes. Thanks.